Well, it's Saturday, and you all know what that means. As you probably know, if you guys are big fans of Stardom and New Japan, well, you guys are always on the right channel. So today we're going to be reviewing Stardom much recent show, the latest one in Osaka, as we head, of course, to the All-Star um, Queendom or something like that. I think that will happen later on at the end of near the end of this month. And of course, we have New Japan for Sakura Genesis. We have plenty of matches. We have the never openweight six-man tag team titles on the line, the New Japan World Television title, the IWGP heavyweight tag team titles, and of course the IWGP heavyweight championship on the line. So a lot of things is going to be taking place as well for this one. And as to add the bonus, there are no new updates for today. So let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers, let's get started. So, let's begin with Stardom. Okay, Stardom in Osaka at the Hebris Hall. And this is their much recent and latest show that just happened. Now, I did mention we are on the road to the All-Star Dream Queendom, which is one of their big shows happening, but also people call it as the, how do I say, a very significant date from 1 year ago, of course. But anyway, let's get started. Our first match, we have MMA Shima, Meisera, Maika, and Azuki teaming up. They take on the members of Godzai, consistent of Lady C, Hina, Amisori, and Shuri. Now, nothing too special about this, no storyline to be told. However, of course, the only thing that could we tell if someone was lucky enough to, of course, pin Shuri, our current IWGP Women's Champion, well, that would be great. But however, that did not happen whatsoever in this particular match. In fact, it was Hina who picked up the win by applying the modified jackhammer onto, of course, MMA Shima, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have Matoi Hamabe, Kyoko Furuzawa, Tabitha, and of course, Waka Tsukiyama. They take on the full force, well, except for Bozilla, of Mi Vida Loca, of course, Akira Kurigani, Izuki Aoki, Rina Yamashita, and Zu Suzuki. Now, of course, You can tell by looking at certain people on the opposite side of Let Me Vida Loca. There are some people who have the least experience, which is of course Hamabe and Furuzawa. Most likely they will be the ones to take target. Tabata, we know she is very capable. As for Waka, well, we all know about her too, about everything. But anyway, this match ended uh, with, of course, what's her name? With uh, the camel clutch by Rina Yamashita onto Furuzawa, and Furuzawa had no choice but to tap out. And just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have the other members of God's Eye, more specifically our current future of Stardom champion, Rana Yagami, and her tag team partner, Tomoka Inaba. They take on star members, Momo Kogo and Saya Ida. Now, of course, nothing too special whatsoever of this match. Even though, if I mention Rana Yagami, the current future champion, well, Momo and Saya Ida don't fit the bill of the futures anymore, since their time has passed from that. But however, it was Tomoka Inaba with the Michinoku driver onto Momokoko, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have Maki Ito teaming up with Xena and Starlight Kid. They take on, of course, Rian and members of the Cosmic Angels, Yuna Mizumori and Natsupoi. Now, if you may notice that Xena and Rian, they used to be members of EXP, but now they're on the opposite side. But you can tell a big factor of this match is Maki Ito and Natsupoi. Many of you may remember I mentioned these two ladies knew each other back in the day in Tokyo Ship Wrestling when Maki Ito was still there, and Natsupoi at the time known as Natsumi Maki, in fact, was a freelancer, but she never actually beaten her once before, and now she has to contempt with her being there as well. So that kind of sets it up. And of course, Rian playing her 12-year-old role of stomping people's foot, she actually did that to Maki Ito. That's something that Maki Ito would do. I'm not sure if she got that from her, because that's kind of interesting. But however, of course, we did see the feud between both Natsumi and Maki Ito go head to head. But in the end, it was Xena who was able to pick up the win by applying a bridge onto Yuna Mizumori, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, I don't know if Xena has any interest of challenging for the high-speed belt. That's something I'm sure, because she did pin Yuna Mizumori, who is the current high-speed champion. So we'll see about that in the coming weeks in Stardom, as we head to, of course, the All-Star Dream Queendom. Now, our next match, as you know, they've begun the commencement of Rookie of Stardom 2026. We have one match that they announced is the first round. We have Ana Kanaya and Yuta Him. Now, obviously, we know these girls are very interesting. I mean, those who know this, that Yuta Him was trained by Mina Shirakawa. She knows exactly what she do. Ana Kanaya, well, she's been training mostly with Yuna Mizumori. And of course, they have both excellent teachers, but the real question is who's going to be the Rookie of Stardom. I mean, last time, the last person we had was Victoria Yuzuki, and now this is back. But however, Yuta Him was able to overcome it when she applied a figure 4 lock onto, of course, to Kanaya, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, our next match, we have Fukigen Death versus Saki Kashima. This was a match that was requested by, of course, Fukigen Death, but things got a little out of hand. I mean, you got to remember, Fukigen Death is a member of Hate, and they use dirty tactics. However, Fukigen Death was about to annihilate Saki Kashima, but President Tado Okada decided to call it, say, no, we can't have that. But however, of course, Kashima was like, I don't know exactly what's happening, but they did restart the match, and of course Fukigen Death wanted to hurt Tado Okada for getting involved, but somehow Tado Okada suplexed Fukigen Death, and then of course told Saki Kashima to finish her off, so she applied a Kishikase, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. I'm like, this was a really fun, interesting match, especially with the president of Stardom being involved, so it was not bad. So, but yes. Now, our next match, of course, is a very special one, Hanako versus Aya Sakura. Now, if you guys know their history, let me tell you a bit about that. These two ladies debuted in March of 2023, I believe. This was around the time when Waka won her first ever match. Of course, when she teamed up with Tam, where she put herself on the line. If she loses, she's out of Stardom, and that's pretty much what happened. But that very same day was during the New Blood Premium. Hanako and Hanako and Aya Sakura team, of course, along with Komomo Minami, debuted, but Komomo never had her actual debut. So it was Hanako and Aya Sakura, and these two ladies were at the time not affiliated with any group until, of course, Aya Sakura was in fact out of action for a while, for a couple of months, and then she came back, and then she joined the Cosmic Angels, and you can tell that these two ladies were friends, but later became rivals in every way possible. I mean, Sakura had to watch from the sidelines how much Hanako has grown up, and that's sort of in that sense of thing. But of course, things were intensified by both. But unfortunately, once again, Aya Sakura came out of this without a simple result on this one, so she lost. I wouldn't be surprised if she tells her that if it takes her 1,000 years just to get her win against her, but we'll see. Now, our next match, we have an interesting combined forces. We got the ladies from Neo Genesis, or better known as O2 Line, Miyu Masaki and Azumi. They team up with the ladies from Cosmic Angels, Sayuri Anu and Sayaka Kurara. They team up with the ladies from Stars, B, Priestley, and Hana. And they take on Hate, consistent of Azusa Inaba, Rina, Raka, Natsuko Tora, Konami, and Sayaka Mitani. Now you can tell that there's three type of preliminaries involved in this. Of course, O2 Line are challenging for the Goddesses of Stardom tag team belts against BMI 2000, Raka, and Natsuko Tora. Hanan is challenging for the white belt against Konami, and Sayaka Kurara challenges for the red belt, but putting the Cosmic Angels' existence on the line. So you can tell how that's going to be. But of course, when it comes to Hate, we know that their usual tactics is to beat their opponents needlessly, use dirty tricks, and that's exactly what they did. Natsuko Tora was able to this time use the miss onto Amasaki, and Raka was able to pin her with the German suplex. 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, there was the intent gloat that we saw happening. So we'll see what happens as we get to, of course, the All-Star Dream Queendom as we go. But as of right now, we are officially done with Stardom. Let's move on with our last review, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, final review, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Sakura Genesis 2026. This is also their latest show they just put out, of course, at the Ryogoku. Let's open up with the pre-show match, which features mostly the young lions. We have, of course, Taisa Nakahara teaming up with Tatsuya Matsumoto. They take on Masatora Yasuda, and of course, Time Splinter himself, Kushida. So basically, you can tell how this was going to be. Now, obviously, some people would assume that Kushida was going to pick up the win. No. But this match ended with, of course, with Yasuda applying the Boston Crab on Nakahara. And just like that was over. Nakahara just tapped out. Knowing too well he couldn't escape the Boston Crab. Now let's jump into some of the main card action. We have TMDK consistent of Hartley Jackson and Kosei Fujita taking on Togi Makabe and Master Wato. Now obviously there's no significant storylines here. We know that Kosei Fujita has issued a challenge for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team belts 48 hours ago. But of course, this probably would put him in the warm-up. But in the end, it was, of course, Harley Jackson that was able to pick up the win on the former IWGP champion, and that is, of course, Togi Makabe. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match, we had the United Empire, more specifically, Jacob Austin Young, Francisco Akira, and Jake Lee taking on the Unbound, consistent of Robbie X, Taiji Shimori, and Shingo Takagi. Now, obviously, we know that, of course, Francesco Akira and Jacob Austin Young are crying like big babies that they couldn't win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight titles 48 hours ago. Of course, they're going to cry about it like little girls, and they're going to take their frustrations out. But, however, things didn't go well for the United Empire in this match because it was, in fact, of course, um, Shingo Takagi with the last dragon onto Jacob Austin Young, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match, we have Toru Yano, Yo, Aaron Wolf, and Tiger Mask taking on the House of Torture, more specifically Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Sho, Don Fale, and Doiki. However, before the bell, Sho, who never shuts the hell up, of course, decided to run his mouth about Tiger Mask because, as you all know, Tiger Mask issued a challenge for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title before he goes on his retirement. But of course, we were going to expect the usual tactics from these losers to begin with. You know, they're going to use distractions in every way possible. But however, things didn't go according to the plan because Aaron Wolf was the one who put away what's his name, Kanemaru, on a Harlock leg choke, of course, and just like that, he just tapped out. But however, there's going to be more about them. Now, we did see Don Fale was intending to hurt Aaron Wolf. Well, Aaron Wolf got his measure of revenge against him when he applied the angle slam, and everybody in this team just 1, 2, 3, it was over, just like that. Just putting out a preview. Now, our next match, we have El Desperado, Taichi, and Yuya Uemura taking on the United Empire, consistent of the Great Khan, Henare, and the return of Will Ospreay. Now, those who may not have been aware, Taichi has been criticizing Will Ospreay, like saying, "Why the hell you're back? You don't even work here anymore. So get the hell out of here. This is not your place." And of course, El Desperado and Yuya Uemura, of course, agree with them on every level, knowing that Ospreay is no longer part of the company. He went on to do his thing. And of course, Taichi and Will Ospreay were going to go head-to-head on this one, but it was in fact Will Ospreay with the Stormbreaker onto Taichi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, they did post it out on the post-match comment that they issued a challenge for the never openweight 6-man tag team belts. So we don't know what Bushiman and Oleg will think about this, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, our next match is for the never openweight 6-man tag team belt. The House of Losers consisting of Yujiro Takahashi, Chase Owens, and Ren Narita taking on, of course, Bishamon, Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto, and Boltin Oleg taking on. However, we knew they were going to do their usual dirty tactics like we often see, but things didn't go according to plan, of course, for the House of Torture. But they were able to put away Yujiro with the Shoto onto him, but it was Yoshihashi who picked up the win, and just like that. But what's also sweeter is that Boltin Oleg put that idiot Ren Narita, who never shuts up either, in a torture rack. And of course, during the post-match, where Boltin Oleg has issued a challenge for the never openweight championship, he kept his end of the bargain, saying, "I gave you the opportunity for the 6-man titles, now you will put that belt on the line." And I'm sure Boltin Oleg is coming up with the game plan because he knows exactly what these guys are capable of. Now, our next match is for the New Japan World Television title. Shota Umino chases against Konosuke Takeshita. Now, you probably can tell there's a bit of a feud between them. The reason is this: the Shota Umino looks at Takeshita as like, "Hey, we're never part of New Japan to begin with. You were from DDT. You say that wrestling is universal, but the fact is you're not from here." So it's more like a homegrown wrestler has a problem with an outsider like Takeshita. I mean, if you follow these two guys' careers, you can tell exactly what they mean. You look at, of course, Umino as a homegrown wrestler for New Japan, while Takeshita is a homegrown wrestler from DDT, and that kind of sets it up right there. But it was a pretty impressive match. But unfortunately, this match ended in a time limit draw after 15 minutes. However, during the post-match a mysterious figure shows up out of nowhere. We have no idea who it was, and then Chase Owens attacked. So it seems now he is going after the New Japan World Television belt. That's something I'm sure that he's aiming for. But Takeshita, well, good thing he got helped by Shota Umino, who doesn't like him, of course, but that's how things are done. So we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, our next match is for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team belts. TMDK's Rohei Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. making another attempt for these belts against the Knockout Brothers, Oscar and Yuto Ice. Of course, basically it was brutal in every way, but one thing was crazy is how Oiwa dismantled the arm, more specifically the left arm of Yuto Ice, like trying to break him, but Yuto Ice is like, screw it, if you're gonna break my arm, I'm fighting you with a broken arm. And that's the kind of fighting spirit he showed. Like, he's like, I don't give a damn, I'm gonna beat you one way or the other. And that's exactly what he did, but he took him out completely with that kick, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, the Knockout Brothers retain the belt. However, it doesn't end there. Of course, Hanare and Great Khan are like, hell no, the Bishamon are not getting those belts, because we never lost those belts. Because of course, they never did, and they want them back. But, however, Bishamon shows up saying, yo, we were watching it, and it felt like we should get high on this. And of course, Yuto Ice likes what he's saying. But however, Hiroki Goto said, since you guys want these belts, we come up with a little dilemma. How about this? The two of us face each other and see who will be the ones to challenge them. And of course, Oscar and Yuto Ice have no objection over this. He knows that these guys want this very bad, so they're going to see exactly who's going to be their opponents. So we'll just have to wait and see. Now on to our main event, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Cal Newman, who won this year's New Japan Cup, faces against Yota Tsuji. And man, this match was so intensified. Of course, there was a moment where they were going to have Cal Newman cheat on this, but no, Will Ospreay stopped it. He wants Newman to do this on his own, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, you can tell there was going to be the Gene Blaster played out, nothing. Everything that they had to give. But in the end, it was Cal Newman with his new move called Make Way, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But, of course, Will Ospreay presented the belt onto Cal Newman and put it onto him and congratulate him. But however, outside the ring, what we did not anticipate is a masked figure attacked Yota Tsuji, and it turned out to be Gabe Kidd, who's now declaring war against New Japan. Basically, he feels that New Japan is full of crappy everything, so he has a problem with Tanahashi and everybody in it. So, but he also issued a challenge with Yota Tsuji for the IWGP Global Heavyweight title. So a lot of things are going to happen. But however, while Newman became the new champion, well, another challenger, his first challenger, has risen, and that is, of course, Shingo Takagi. So now he's stepping up to the plate. So we'll see what happens until then. We'll follow up on more on this. But as of right now, we are done for right now. There are no news updates for today. Let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, well, I haven't decided yet. Currently, right now, I'm deciding to do the next special episode. I haven't decided what. I need to catch up with certain events that I need to catch up for those. For our next episode, I haven't decided. But also, I want to keep you guys updated on the discussion video. I did mention I'm going to do a Cosmic Angels video. Once again, as you all know, I'm a big fan. We're going to be talking about a bit of the history of the Cosmic Angels, and we're going to talk about the scenarios, if what happens if Kurara wins or loses, that sort of thing. So we'll see what happens. There will be more news updates coming up soon by itself. That I want to keep it separate away. I'm calling that one another Yoshi edition. So we'll see how things will go from there. But as of right now, we'll end things here, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. So I'm going to bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.